to Fantasy's Finest Week 6 Fantasy Football Focus. I'm Traston.
And I'm Justin, and today we'll be going over the top 5 wide receivers and running backs for Week 6. I'm Justin Hewitt, and I'm going to start us off with the top 5 wide receivers for Week 6. At number 5, I have Bernard Berrian. Bernard Berrian started off slow. He had a hamstring injury. Percy Harvin's been getting a lot of the throws, a lot of the looks. He's gained Brett Favre's trust. But last week, Bernard Berrian had a touchdown. I think with this hamstring healed and Brett Favre starting to gain confidence in Bernard Berrian, they're going to have a big week this week against the Ravens. Their pass defense is 26th against the pass. So, I mean, they're not great. They're through the lower half of the pass defenses.
You know, I really love the addition of Brett Favre with the Minnesota Vikings. I like their even pass to run. They're a good team. It's a good matchup this week as well.
Number 4, I have Greg Jennings. Greg Jennings plays the Detroit Lions. Detroit has been struggling since last year. They didn't win a game last year. They're not a bad team. I like Detroit. I like their heart to win. But, I mean, against Green Bay, there's not much you can do. With Aaron Rodgers slanging the rock, he's hitting his tight ends, he's hitting his running backs. I mean, Ryan Grant's catching a lot of passes out of the backfield. But Greg Jennings, he's a very elusive wide receiver, has a great chance to get open against the Detroit defense. A lot of holes, a lot of gaps, should find the end zone once, at least once. Number 3, I have Randy Moss. Randy Moss is playing the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee, Peyton Manning torched them last week for 3 touchdowns. Tennessee is the worst defense against the pass. So, I mean, any wide receiver you have against Tennessee, you're going to start. They're a must start. They're the worst defense. Tom Brady and Randy Moss should have no problem hooking up for at least 2 TDs. Randy Moss, big wide receiver, just dominating corners. Small corners all day. They can get them.
I think Tom Brady this week is going to show people that the Denver game was a fluke. People after the game are saying, you know, Kyle Orton outplayed Tom Brady. Expect Tom Brady to outplay everybody this week.
Better believe it. Number 2, I have Chad Ochocinco. They played the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans gave up 2 touchdowns to Larry Fitzgerald last week. And Ochocinco did not get to do his Ricky Bobby-like imitation like he said he was going to do.
You know he wanted to.
So look for him to find the end zone this week and maybe add something onto that. You know, it's going to be a great show for everybody.
Watch out for Cincinnati this week.
Yep. Okay, number 1, I have our Arizona's Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald's always a beast. He tore it up last year in the playoffs, and since Kurt Warner's starting to look for him in the red zone, he should have no problem finding the red zone this week, the end zone, I mean. They play the Seattle Seahawks. They've given up over 1,000 yards this year. And, you know, Kurt Warner and Larry Fitzgerald are starting to make it click.
Last week, Jacksonville's offense made Seattle's defense look really good. Expect Arizona's offense to make Seattle look really bad this week.
That's how we do it in Arizona. That's it for the top 5 wide receivers for Week 6.
It's awesome. This is Fantasy Finest top 5 running backs for Week 6 of the NFL. At number 5, Ryan Grant of the Green Bay Packers going up the Detroit Lions rush defense. Now, the rush defense of the Detroit Lions is 22nd in the league. So let's just say that Ryan Grant's probably going to have a pretty good game against them. He's averaging 10 points as it is already, and I feel that he's the epitome of a number 2 running back.
Definitely with Aaron Rodgers spreading the ball around to his wide receivers, Donald Driver spreading the field out with that deep pass, and Greg Jennings, the elusive back over the middle. Definitely going to spread out the defense and not see a lot of stacked boxes.
We're high on all Packers this week. At number 4, I have Matt Forte of the Chicago Bears going up against the Atlanta Falcons. Now, the Falcons are giving up 127 yards per game, so Matt Forte should have a pretty good game. There are those who will say, hey, Forte's coming off an injury. They just got off their bye week. Forte's getting a little bit more healthy, so he should have a pretty good game here. At number 3, I have Michael the Burner Turner of the Atlanta Falcons also going up against the Chicago Bears. Now, this is an unfavorable matchup because the Bears are a pretty good run defense, but Michael Turner is coming off of a 97-yard, 3-touchdown game, and I think the Falcons have realized that Michael Turner is the epitome of your red zone running back.
Definitely coming off a 3-touchdown game, that confidence is going to be there, and that confidence in the head coach is going to be there to give him the ball in the end zone. Definitely not go with the play-action pass anymore and just pound the ball up the middle. to get into the end zone. Michael Turner should have a great game.
I think the Falcons have realized that the trickeration in the red zone isn't working as well as Michael Turner just pounding the rock, trying to get to the goal line.
Yep.
My number 2 running back this week is probably going to cause a little bit of ruckus. Probably going to get some hate mail, especially from our good friend Sean. But my number 2 running back this week is Adrian Peterson of the Minnesota Vikings. Without this matchup against the Baltimore Ravens, I would have Adrian Peterson as my number 1 running back. But the Baltimore Ravens just gave up 120 yards to Cedric Benson, and I don't see them doing that 2 times in a row. This defense is too stout and too strong to do that twice in a row, and they realize that that's what lost them the game is Cedric Benson running the ball down their throats.
Definitely.
So look for Adrian Peterson to have a decent game, but temper your expectations because of the matchup. My number 1 running back this week is the aforementioned Cedric Benson of the Cincinnati Bengals. He's going up against a Houston Texans defense that gives up 140 rushing yards per game.
Wow.
Now, he did have a really great week last week. He had 120 yards against the Baltimore Ravens, so I think he's going to be able to torch the Houston Texans for probably more than that, if not 2 scores.
Well, definitely, if Tim Hightower gets in the end zone, he's not a bad running back. He's a solid running back, but he reached the end zone. So, I mean, I don't believe Cedric Benson will have a problem finding the end zone.
Cedric Benson is starting to live up to that number 4 pick in the NFL draft. He didn't have a great career starting with the Bears, but I think he's reviving himself in Cincinnati now, and that's why I have him at my number 1 running back position this week.
Definitely great value from the late rounds. You picked him up in the draft. If you have him, consider yourself lucky because he is a great running back.